Hi, and welcome to Political Talk Wednesdays. My name is Bobby Parsons. Today, I was asked to discuss realignment and de-alignment. Okay, for those who do not know, a realignment is when we see a mobilization of certain groups, social groups, into the electorate towards a specific party. We can look at the New Deal coalition of the 1930s, and we can see that a realignment took place in the sense that you see African Americans being brought into the Democratic presidential voting coalition. Okay. A de-alignment is the opposite of that, when people move out of the electorate, away from a political party. We also see that in the New Deal coalition. We see white Southerners who defect rather, from the Democratic Party and have since gone to the Republican Party. If you look closely at electoral maps over the years, we see that most of the red states are now in the South, and that used to not always be the case. Okay. Furthermore, I was asked to decide: do I think there's been a realignment, and will it last, and has there been or will there be a de-alignment? Starting with the first part, has there been a realignment? I would definitely believe so, especially since the 1960s and onward, because in 1964 we have the Civil Rights Act, and in 1965 the Voting Rights Act under Lyndon B. Johnson. So that's definitely a realignment in the Democratic Party that has definitely solidified African American support of the Democratic Party. And especially with the election of Barack Obama in 2008 and his re-election in 2012, we see that many of his votes do come from African Americans, with in both elections African American turnout being in the 90s. So that's certainly I certainly believe there has been a realignment there. That's probably not anytime soon. It's probably not going to be going away. Do I think we can keep it? I do believe that we are going to continue to see blacks in the electorate towards Democrats, only because, Democrats tend to represent a more far-reaching, diverse group of people than what you see in Republicans. Nothing against Republicans, that's just how it goes. Now, do I think there's going to be a de-alignment? That's hard to say. I definitely see people coming away from the Democratic Party, but I see people coming away from the Republican Party. I see people coming into the Republican Party. That's the beauty of American politics, is that you're never going to know. From year to year and election to election, you're going to see a larger mobilization of certain groups compared to others in the electorate. So it's very hard to say whether or not there is going to be a de-alignment. That's something like time will tell. I think a lot of it has to do based on what kind of legislation gets passed between now and then, and how the different social groups respond to it. For example, if Republicans were to be more active on the rights of more active towards gay rights, I think you would see more people in the LGBTQ community who would be more willing to vote Republican. But their interests aren't being served that way. Therefore, you're going to see them continue to vote Democratic. And there are many examples. So I think it depends on the election, who's running, and how the electorate really feels, how different social groups really feel they can benefit from a certain candidate, for sure. Because a lot of it is retrospective and prospective voting. Retrospectively, people cast votes based on what they've seen either parties do in certain situations or candidates do, and that's a lot of American voting. But there's also prospective voting. If, for example, if someone believes a candidate's going to make their life better, or their social group is going to benefit from electing a candidate, just on thought alone of what that candidate will do, you're going to see someone vote for that candidate. Okay, that's prospective and retrospective voting, which is something I've looked at extensively. But that, like I said, those are just examples of people being mobilized into the electorate. I think that it's definitely up in the air as far as it goes. But like I said, only time can tell. There has certainly been a realignment with African Americans into the Democratic Party and white Southerners away from it. That's really the only big tangible one that we've seen since the 1960s. One could say there's been a de-alignment in Republicans, in the sense that they haven't really been able to get much done. Like, they haven't had the presidency since 2000. You're going to see, and I think you're going to see more and more a de-alignment, in the sense that whatever young following Republicans had, they're going to lose them. Okay, because Republicans need to start appealing to younger and younger generations and because if they don't, that party's ultimately going to die out. I mean, that's worst case scenario in de-alignment form, is if they don't start changing, they're going to see a mass de-alignment of the young people, and eventually the Republican Party is just going to die out. So that's pretty much what I have to say on the subject. Please leave some comments or leave some comments, subscribe, and tell me what you want to talk about. I'm willing to talk about anything, so just let me know. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Wednesday.